Hey everyone. We all want to feel closer to other people. It isn't usually that we want to have a million friends, be super popular, unless you're still in high school, and that might be a thing. But for most adults, and as we age, we just want a few friends. We want some good friends, some friends we can trust, some friends we really like, some friends that we feel close to and we can talk to and share hard things or share joys or whatever. But it can feel really hard to actually find those people and then get close to them. So that's why I'm here today to help with that. I want you to have those close relationships, and we can use research to help you get there. I'm going to walk you through the second set of 12 research questions, the moderate intensity questions, that help you make friends faster and easier so it doesn't feel so hard. So let's do it. So we're here to cover the second set of questions, the moderate intensity questions that can help you get closer to other people faster and easier. If you missed the first video, you can see it here, and I'll also link it in the description below. So to give you the background, this is based on research done in 1997. And they were looking to see, hey, if you talk about certain things, and they came up with a set of questions. If you use these questions, if you talk about these questions with someone else, whether or not you even know the person before you start, does this make you feel closer? And the answer turned out to be yes. Complete strangers could talk about these questions, and they felt closer at the end of it. So this is what we're doing today, is to go through the second set of questions in a way that almost feels like we're doing something sneaky. And we're not being sneaky. We're looking at why do these questions work and how can you use them to get closer to people. So today's questions get a little more personal. They're designed to tap into our hopes, our fears, our vulnerabilities. So as we go through each one, I'll share some ideas about how I feel about them, my own personal thoughts, but I'll talk to you about why each question is useful and how you can use it. So let's jump right in. So we're starting with question 13 because, as I said, the first video did the first 12. Question 13. If a crystal ball could tell you the truth about yourself, your life, the future, or anything else, what would you want to know? Now, this is a great question. What would you want to know the truth about? And for me personally, I always go back to this idea. I want to know where I'm stuck. And I mean, where I'm stuck at this kind of subconscious level. I don't know where I'm stuck because it's so threatening to me, I can't even think about it. We all have those things. And I deeply want to know those things because when you work on them, it sets you free. And you don't have the hang-ups, and you're not scared, and you're not, just stuck. So I do so much work to get at those questions. I'll tell you about it some other time. But this question is awesome because it helps us understand for ourselves and for the person that we're talking to the things where we're most curious, the things we really want to know about ourselves or our life. And it gives us a window into kind of how that defines you as a person. It tells us what matters most in our lives and our future. Cool stuff. All right, question 14. Is there something that you've dreamed of doing for a long time, and why haven't you done it? That's a fun question, What are your hidden desires or goals or aspirations? How can we get to know the other person better? I want to do kind of a crazy thing, like take the kids and family for the summer and go switch houses and stay in a flat in Portugal or something, and somebody comes and stays at our house, and so it doesn't cost so much. That would be an adventure. It'd be cool. It would be culturally amazing. And I haven't done it because it feels big. It feels difficult and hard and like it's just too much and I can't fit it all in. And that might lead me to something that's blocking me. But when we talk to somebody else about this, it helps us think about, what do we aspire? What seems wonderful to us? And what's holding us back? And so as you get to know this about the other person, you're getting to know this about yourself too. This is cool stuff for ourselves and our relationships. All right, question 15. What is the greatest accomplishment of your life? What a defining question. For a lot of people, they might say their children. My children are an amazing, defining piece of who I am and how I've contributed to the world and just I don't know, the beauty and magic that they bring. And I could talk about my work and how I've helped so many people and how I've connected in so many ways. I mean, that's really amazing. But again, for me, it usually just goes back to how much I've grown as a person, all of the ridiculous mistakes I've made in the past, all my foibles, all the problems, and how I keep evolving. That, I think, is the biggest accomplishment for me. And this question not only helps you feel good about yourself and share that with someone else, which is valuable in making a relationship deeper and work better, but it also helps us understand, how do I define success, or like what's really important in my life, and how do you define that, and how might I understand that about you and about me better, and does that overlap? So I think this is a really useful question in that way. All right, question 16. What do you value most in friendship? This helps us think about what we value, what's not negotiable, what we require in a friendship, and really get to the heart of, could you and I be friends? Because if we don't agree on the most essential, important things, okay, we don't have to do that. And I think most of the time we can agree, because the values that we hold are often very shared values. For me, I value people being authentic, being real. I want real friends, not the, oh, I'm pretending this, or I'm worried about this, or I'm trying to impression manage you. I want real, authentic friendships. And I really care about, and maybe it's an overused concept, but the idea of integrity, of doing what you say you're going to do, trying hard to be a good person, to do the thing that you care about, that symbolizes your values when no one else is looking. That kind of thing is really important to me and my closest friends. So this question can help you figure out what's important to you and share that in a way that's very connecting. All right, question number 17. What is your most treasured memory? This one is so hard for me. As soon as I start thinking about it, I just kind of flit all over the place to memory after memory after memory. I still haven't been able to pick one. So in my conversation with you, this would probably take me a while. But this invites people into our world at our most treasured, crucial, meaningful moments. And that kind of sharing really deepens connection and helps you understand the other person and to feel what they're feeling for a bit. Really cool. Okay. On the flip side, question 18, what's your most terrible memory? And this is so much about vulnerability. What are you willing to share with someone? What hard things might you disclose? And there's always a continuum of hard things, so you can pick and choose, right? Feeling vulnerable with someone. For me, when I was in 7th or 8th grade, these boys, it was a very, very small school. I graduated with like 34 people. But these boys sat behind me and made fun of me and mocked my body out loud in front of everyone. And I was so insecure about my body. That was just devastating to me. I won't repeat the comments that they made. One boy in particular made. And that memory stuck with me for years, kind of defining how my body was wrong. It was a terrible, terrible thing. And I've done so much work to process that and see the 13-year-old boy making some stupid comment rather than the story that I told myself about what it meant about me. So, terrible memories. This builds trust. It garners support. It is just so connecting. And like I said, you get to pick on a continuum about how comfortable you feel being that vulnerable. Question 19. If you knew that in 1 year you would die suddenly, would you change anything about the way you're living now? And why? This helps us think about our priorities, and it helps us show things we might be regretting or things we aspire to. How can we live fully? It makes me think about how much less kind of anxious I might be or worried about things being just right, I would probably relax more and play more, and it doesn't really matter. So many things don't matter. And my head knows that, but my body doesn't always know that. So sharing those priorities and sharing how you might want to live differently and potentially could right now is really connecting. Question 20. What does friendship mean to you? And this isn't about, sex and, our romantic partner and those kind of things. We're talking about friendship, like the connections that we want to have with the people we care about most, what we expect from our friends, what we want to give to our friends, what the idea of a friendship means for you. And to me, so much of it is about connection, just having that connection, the realness of it. So as you try to define what friendship means to you and you share that with someone else, friendship deepens. It's like magic. Question 21. What roles do love and affection play in your life? It's like, how do we express and receive love? How do we nurture our close relationships? Love and affection kind of means everything to me. And I kind of see it as like energy, the energy that we bring, the warmth that we bring, the closeness that we bring. So sharing that idea of what does love and affection mean to you when you might not ever think about those terms is a way to get closer to people. Question 22. Take turns sharing something you consider a positive characteristic of your partner. I tell you something, you tell me something, I tell you something. And this is, share a total of 5 items or however many. But it builds appreciation. It builds connection. It builds, wow, I know this about you already, and I like this about you. It's an opportunity to express what we're thinking when we don't have those opportunities naturally all the time. I am so appreciative for all of you having this curiosity and openness and wanting to learn and grow and to evolve yourselves, because otherwise you wouldn't be watching this video, most likely. So I really appreciate that about you. And if anybody wants to tell me anything they appreciate about me, well, you can totally do that in the comments. I also like how screwed up we all are, because I'm here being vulnerable and being a little messed up most of the time. So I like that about you too. All right. Question 23. We got 2 more. Question 23. How close and warm is your family? Do you feel your childhood was happier than most other people's? This is family dynamics. This is sharing not only about us as a person, but about how we came to be who we are. And this builds so much empathy, so much understanding as we see the backstory. It's like pulling back the curtain. I'm the youngest of 8, and people think we're supposed to be the Brady Bunch, and we're not the Brady Bunch. Are we close and warm? Nah, not that close and warm. I mean, there are pockets of closeness and warmth, which is wonderful. And I think, the dynamics of 8 children, our parents are now deceased. Videos on my mother's passing away, if anybody's interested in that. But the 8 kids have a lot of dynamics. And so, how close and warm are me is just an interesting question that would certainly deepen a connection between whoever it is that I'm talking to. And your dynamics, I'm sure, are just as interesting as mine. Last question. How do you feel about your relationship with your mother? All right, and again, this is one of these deep-seated, deep-rooted, one of our most significant relationships in life. And it talks a lot about how our emotions came to be, how our connections came to be. And I'm not dissing fathers at all either. I think they could have very easily said, how do you feel about your relationship with your father? Maybe they had to pick one, I don't know. But we have a story for all of these things. My mother passed away, and I just really feel a lot of empathy for her at this time, because she had a really hard life, and it came through in how she lived. So there you have it. These questions help me think a lot about myself. And it's obvious that if you were sharing these things with another person and that they were authentically sharing with you, you couldn't help but feel closer to them. We're all real people. We have emotions and anxieties and foibles and problems and issues and aspirations and loves. So getting to know that about someone is the point of connection and relationship. It makes me feel better even thinking about it. So as we go through this journey of going through these questions, remember, it's not just to read the questions and answer them, but it's to think about them, to reflect on them, and to really listen when somebody is telling you their answers. Really listen. That's the magic, is listening and being together with someone else. So if you want more magic like that, feel free to subscribe to the This Beautiful Brain newsletter, where every week I send out ideas on connection and brain health and quality of life every Sunday, and it is just a lovely community. The link will be down below for you to be able to do that. And if it feels too crazy or too intimidating to reach out and start talking to people about these questions, use this venue as practice. You can tell us your answers here. You can share things that feel vulnerable here. This is all practice in connecting. I do a lot of sharing and practice in connecting with you, and it would be a joy to hear your ideas in response below. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.